Hello, hello. I am so excited for another episode of Pivotal Moments. What makes this episode and the ones that will be following so special is I am doing my flashbacks and actually getting people from season 1 and 2 who were pivotal to this show and really taking off. So, to start that off, I am super excited, Rodney, to have you
Thank you.
joining me on this conversation because you literally brought so many people to pivotal moments that really caused it to just take off. And I've built so many connections and
Yes.
all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just had to have you back.
I loved it. I loved it. And I remember referring all of those people. I was talking to them about it and I was like, listen, I'm gonna send you an email. I think you should try this show out. This platform lead is phenomenal. And it worked. Like, you know, when you have an idea about something, but seeing it like happen is just
Yes.
different. And so, yeah, I'm glad it worked out like that.
Well, I so appreciate it so much. And of course, the other piece to it is that was early on, kind of even early in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So now I feel like 5 years.
I know, right?
It's been 5 years.
Year 5 of it. It's crazy, man. Right.
We've gone through the whole alphabet of variants,
Right.
So, I mean, it's been crazy. But here we are. And so I'm definitely interested to just see how things have been going. What
Yes.
new moments have happened
Yes.
for you that have created pivots? The last time that you were on the show, well, the first time, I should say, we talked about your books and just the story behind that. And it was so inspiring and so encouraging. But what has happened over the past year or so now? Yeah.
So I believe in this whole mantra, Lita, of becoming different and better, right? Each and every day. And that different and better can be like a little pivot or it can be a major pivot, right? But it's different than who I was. And it's better in the nth of degrees, right? In the nth degree, I'm different and better. And because of that, I look for opportunities, right? Because of that, I engage people with that mindset. So what has happened? I was a part of a very renowned leadership experience tour. It was sponsored by Forbes, and we were in Michigan. We did 3 days worth of engagement, and the fallout from that was just great. I met some phenomenal people, and they had my big old picture blown up, and so that was one thing. That was something that came out of it. Another thing that happened, and I think that this is probably like one of my proudest moments. I got to don the cover of Speakers magazine, right? Now, let me tell you why I'm so proud of that. Les Brown has been on the cover of Speakers magazine. Cookie Johnson's, Magic Johnson's wife, has been on the cover. The phenomenal R&B singer Cheryl Wood has been on the cover. Judge Leona, who had her own show and all that kind of stuff, has been on the cover. What's the guy's name? T.D. Jakes has been on the cover. I can't even think. Oh, man, it's so many. It's so many phenomenal people that have donned the cover of this nationally syndicated magazine. And now your friend, Lita, like your friend on the cover of Speakers freaking magazine, seen everywhere. So it's growth and opportunities like that have just knocked my socks off. I had conversations today, for example, about joining a platform that they are going to bring in upwards of about 10 to 12,000 people that are going to log into a subscription service just to hear me talk about the stuff that you and I talk about. And they're talking about money multipliers. And I don't come from a background leader where people talk about finances, money. They did, but it was always a struggle. They talked about money, but it was always like, we don't got money for that. No, you can't go to the school field trip. No, we not doing Scholastic Book Fair. Don't ask me, right? We don't got McDonald's money, right? So that's the background that I came from. Unless Jesus going to pay it all, right? Unless we got a miracle in our finances was the common phrase, right? You need a miracle in your finances. He going to do something for you. Like, unless it was that, We didn't talk about
Yeah.
money, right? And
Yeah.
I realized that as well intended as that was, it was a
Mm.
poverty mindset that fueled that,
Mm.
right? That retained it. The issue with that is there's so much power in what we think and thus how we talk and thus what we create. Can I do something corny with
Mm.
our family, with our pivotal moments family? Can I do something real?
Yes.
All
Do it.
right. Okay. So if y'all gonna play along with me and Lita, right? I would like for everybody to take your left hand, wiggle your fingers. Y'all wiggle your fingers. I know this is funny, weirdo. Just roll with us. Me and Lita crazy, but we know what we doing. We know what we talking about. So your left hand, wiggle your fingers, then cover your eyes, right? And now I want you to think of everything in the room that's orange. Orange, orange, orange. 5, 4. Keep your eyes closed, no peeking. 3, 2. Okay, open your eyes. Now y'all look around. Look around your room. Look around your room.
Mm.
Lita, you see a couple of orange things in your room? Now let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. When I said think of orange stuff, what, if anything, popped in your mind?
Nothing.
There was nothing in your room that was orange, right? There's 0 orange things. Like, what is this crazy boy talk orange? Like this, and then you open your eyes. Tell me a couple things in there that's orange, real quickly, in your space. What you got orange right there?
So I have like this little picture that's got like flowers. So that was the
Mhm,
first thing when I
mhm.
looked. I'm like, oh, it
Oh,
has
snap! Right
orange.
there. Okay. What else? Anything else?
Wow, I have a picture over on the left that again it has this beautiful orange vase in it
It's been there the whole time. Okay.
the whole
All right,
time.
y'all. Now
Wow.
listen.
Mm.
We ain't crazy. Left hand again. Left hand again. Real
Mm.
quick. Cover your eyes. No peeking. No peeking. Now I want you to think of everything that is green. No peeking. 5, 4, 3. Green stuff. 2. Open your eyes. All right, leader. What you got?
Mm. Flowers. I got pictures.
Okay. Okay. Did you think of those things,
I thought of the one flower that has the orange and it also has green.
leader? What color are your earrings right now?
Oh, they're
Okay.
the dress.
Now watch this. Watch this.
Wow.
Nobody came into our space and threw some orange stuff in there once we opened our eyes. And nobody
Mm.
came in and threw in green stuff, right? So what had happened was this, Lita. These opportunities, these relationships have always been right in front of us. But if our mindset says lockdown, not there, I'm not even looking, I don't even know to look for, it will never
Mm.
show up in our mind. We won't see it, even if it's in front of us, right? And so, what we got to do, leader, is we got to help people transition their mind to anticipate better, to
Yeah.
anticipate without feeling guilty. Because what we do, unintentionally, we close off ourselves from good things happening, right? I'm gonna give you exactly what I mean.
Wow.
When something that's simple, because things are reflective of a mindset, right? How we interact in this world is reflective of a mindset. So
Yeah.
if and when we go to somebody's house, right? And we've been told all this, don't go over there, don't ask for nothing, don't look at that, don't touch nothing, right? So we've been indoctrinated because that's good manners. So we go there as adults. You want some water? Can I get you anything? What do we say?
No, thank you.
Don't be a blessing to me. Don't offer me something nice. It's reflective of a mindset. So when I have opportunities and somebody attempts to offer, our courteousness
Mm.
blocks us. Well intended. We have to help people transition out of that sort of thinking because it meant well, leader, but we carry it into our 30s and we tell everybody we meet and everything that's listening around us, don't help me. Don't do nothing. I got it. It's okay. Meanwhile, we suffering. Meanwhile, we lonely. Meanwhile, we wanted to go. Meanwhile, we kind of scared. Meanwhile, right? And so there's a guy named Dick Gregory. He was a comedian, a activist. Um, he recently died several years ago. He was like in his 80s almost. Very, very
Yeah.
intelligent man. He said something that kind of shook me up, Lita. This man said, when you say you can't, you are telling 80 trillion cells in your body to not make it happen. That messed me up. I don't want to do that. I want to use my power for good. So even if it's the smallest thing, if it's a goddamn nickel on the ground, I am grateful for the abundance. I'm grateful for the opportunity because I'm going to try to make this analogy simple, right? If our homes that we live in is like all of existence, right? Okay. Everything that exists within our house, in our home, right? It's all of existence. So if we take a cup of water from the dining room to the living room, if we look at it from a simple mindset, the dining room lost something, the living room gained something. But if we look at it from the house's perspective, I ain't lost nothing. I got all of this. It's all in me as your home. Okay, so we live in a place where everything exists. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It's already all here, everywhere, right? Yeah. Well, when we communicate to the all that is, all that houses us, oh no, I don't need that nickel. For the house, for the home, there's no difference between $5,000 and 5 cents. There's no difference between you getting a Starburst, a bag of Skittles as a gift, and you being given a trip to Cancun. I don't lose anything from either of those. You're telling me, don't get, you're good. So I'm going to let you be until you communicate differently, until you tap into this stuff, until you train yourself to see the green lights that's already there. This is what I freaking do for a living. This is what I do, and I believe in it in my heart, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to share it because it's so simple.
Wow. Okay, y'all see why I had to have this man back on the show, because this is just for those of you that are watching this on the video side of this. I'm gonna link the first episode because this is just exactly what we get when we sit down with Rodney. You're gonna get educated, plain and simple. Wow, that's some mind-blowing stuff, though.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and one of my favorite things is a quote. I probably said this in the last episode because I live by it. Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein's quote says, hold on, I feel like I got something on my face. Okay. Albert Einstein, genius, extraordinaire. He says, if you can't explain it simply, you don't really get it yourself. Which is amazing for a genius to say, because he could talk over our heads. He could talk. Yeah. When I was in college, I had a buddy of mine, one of the smartest, brightest, dopest, deepest brothers I knew. I couldn't understand a word this dude said sometimes. He was just on a, wow, they're going to be studying Park in college, university settings. And he had these locks that just stuck straight out, right? They was like 2 inches long. They just was all over his head. He was a cool cat, but he spoke like an encyclopedia, right? Einstein could have talked to folks like that. Instead, he said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't really get it. So he comes up with this thing called the theory of relativity, which in a nutshell is a formula that tells how everything in existence relates to each other. It's the theory of relativity. He explained it with 3 letters. E equals MC squared. Yeah. 3 freaking letters, right? And so this stuff that we're talking about, if the changes that I need to make need to be after I do a 90-day fast, or after I level up PhD master's degree, or after I strip down, come back, do this, that's a lot. That's a lot. And the truth of the matter is, it's hard to maintain it. But if it's as simple as transitioning what I have trained myself to expect, I can do that right now, just like we just did. Like we just freaking did. And so because of that, organizations that are dealing with COVID, that are dealing with post-pandemic living, with coming into this new normal, and now the new normal potentially being compromised, they're faced with these choices. How do we do this? How do we help our people adjust? Well, amazingly, leader, and this is how you know things happen kind of like in a symphony, like it's a whole bunch of orchestration happening, right? Because at the same time that little corny people like me are getting these ideas, I'm a student of this stuff, by the way. I spend so much time like just doing this, so I have it to give, right? Have it to share. But at the same time, there's a whole bunch of folks like us, you, me, other people that are doing this. We have a mutual friend who does it with fitness in the body and the mind. There's so many of us, right? Well, at the same time, organizations are saying stuff like, we can't take old ways of thinking into whatever is about to be. We got to help people adjust. So my phone been ringing off of people wanting me to come in and have these type of conversations with their people. That's amazing. And I'm grateful about that. But yeah, so this has been my life. This has been my life recently. And anyway, I could keep going forever. Please jump in.
So, let me ask you this question, because I think I know in a lot of the people that I coach and I work with, one of the biggest challenges that can come up sometimes when you have made the kind of transition like what you have made, what I'm doing, and you talk about it all the time, coming from your background. I know in the first episode, one of the
really
powerful statements you made is that I should have been in a box by now, whether that was jail cell, the ground. We're like, if it was going along the same course, that's where I would have ended up. So can you just talk briefly about the mental, you talked about mindset, but for you, how do you keep present? How do you make that mental shift and not continue to see yourself as that person and truly embrace who you are now?
So
do you struggle with that?
Yes, and no. And because now I understand it, right? Let me give an example. I don't get sick. And I know that sounds like such a haughty statement to make, right? I don't get ill because I don't choose to, because I don't think it's healthy. So I don't want that, right? So I don't get sick. My nose ain't going to run, right? I'm not about to be full of a whole bunch of stuff, but I don't choose it. I don't choose to catch colds. I don't want that, right? Well, I found myself in the hospital recently. Somebody ain't been sick in years, just in the hospital. So what the heck happened? Leader, I somehow ripped the internal thoracic chest part of my esophagus.
What?
Goodness. Okay, so let me tell you what had happened. This is what had happened. What had happened was I didn't eat for a long stretch of time. When I did eat, when I ordered some food, and because I know this about me, because I ain't just meet me, I'm 40 years old, right? I done know me for a little bit of time now. So when I met me, what I know about me is that I should have drank some water first, right? Just to kind of lubricate things, because it had been several hours that I hadn't eaten. And then in addition to that, whatever was on my plate, start with the soft stuff, Rodney, because you're going to act like you ain't never seen food before. And you're going to just go straight inhale mode. Right? And if you don't do it in the water liquid first and then the soft stuff first, it's going to go down because you're not going to think outside of what I'm telling you to prep. You're going to get something stuck. It's happened to me 100 times, right? Because I know me. Did I follow my process? No. Did I take the steps? No. I didn't drink nothing. So I had some meat, some gravy, some green beans, and some rice. I took 3 big chunks of all of that stuff. Boom, boom, boom. It got stuck like right here. Right? Now, I didn't feel like going through the whole gagging. Is it gonna come out? Pieces did, pieces didn't. So I was like, you know what? I'm hungry. I ain't about to do this with myself. I'm gonna force this down. I took the biggest forceful swallow I possibly could. Boom. Because in my mind, like once you get it through the little bottleneck, it's gonna drop down. You good to go, right? It's like you good to go. Leader, I did that. Whatever clump, softball size of food that was stuck here, it was too wide for the tract.
Oh no.
I felt the most searing, ripping, tearing pain down a stretch of inside of my body, inside of me. It was the most level intensity pain I had ever felt. I've broken bones. I have cut stuff. I've been in fights. I've been scrapping. I done played basketball. I done had to get mouth surgery for just bumping and things. I did all kind of stuff. I broke thumbs and all kind of stuff, right? This was the most intense pain I have ever felt in my entire life. And then everything hurt. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to take a deep breath in. It hurt to move. It hurt to adjust. And then because the food, when it ripped, it still was too thick. It still was stuck. There's muscles in our body, Lita, called involuntary muscles. Heartbeat is involuntary. Breathing is involuntary. Swallowing is involuntary. Blinking, unless we want to blink, right? Blinking happens all the time without us thinking about it. One of the things that happens is your body pushing food down through our intestines and all that kind of stuff. Those are smooth involuntary muscles. Nobody told my involuntary muscles, stop pushing. Hey, he's in pain. Stop pushing. They was like, that don't got nothing to do with us. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. So I'm fighting inside of myself because it's stuck and the involuntary muscles are like, keep it moving, but it's not going anywhere. And they're pushing around this tear in my body. I listened to my son who asked me to go to the hospital because I'm a knucklehead. I probably wouldn't have went. I probably would have tried to walk it off. That don't even make no sense. I know. I'm still working. Right? I try to walk it off and stop, sleep it off, whatever. I get to the hospital. They immediately, emergency rooms don't move. They immediately took me from the front to the back. I had before I even left the house, 4 big, huge blood amounts coming out of my mouth, right? Thick, rich, human blood out of my body into the sink, right? They took me from the waiting room into the back. They strapped me up to a whole bunch of stuff. They was like, we can't service this here. Transported me in the middle of the night across town to another hospital. I met with they had me on morphine. I'm on, but listen, it was hurting to do anything. I'm going somewhere with this, right? To answer your question. So when I got to the next hospital and I met with the head doctor of gastrointestinal and all that other kind of stuff, he said, Mr. Burris, it had been several hours, like a half a day had gone by, right? Because they're still slow. Like a half a day had gone by, and I'm feeling better. Still in pain, but I'm feeling better. He said, what you have has a high mortality. He said 1 in 5 people die that experience this. Yeah. He was like, we're going to have to do this. And then he paused and he looked at me. He was like, but you're not presenting like my normal patients. Maybe the textbook isn't needed. We'll just monitor it. I could have been in there for up to 2 weeks. 2.5 days later, they're sending me out. All of my levels was good. I had to drink this like radioactive. It probably wasn't radioactive. This radioactive stuff to show up on the x-rays. No perforation. Yeah. They couldn't see the cut anymore. Like I was healing and all that kind of stuff, which is a miracle. I appreciate that, but I expect that. But I was in the hospital to answer your question. And I was like, if I leave out of this hospital, and I'm only grateful that I wasn't in here for a long time, there was a reason why this happened. Every relationship, every car accident, every flat tire, every disappointment is reflective of what's going on inside of us. But we don't teach that. If we taught that to first graders, by the time first graders about 6 years old, snaggle teeth, right? Yeah. By the time they're 16, 18 years old, they got a decade in the game, leader. They got a decade of looking at relationships, of sharing pencils. Do you like me? Yes or no? The teacher said this to me, of looking at all of those things through the lens of this is reflective of me. My feelings were hurt because of some internal stuff. Because when people say stuff that don't affect us, our feelings don't get hurt. So if the only difference is the same statement, this time I was good and this time I wasn't good, then that's reflective of my state. I don't want you to have none of that food because I'm hungry. But if I'm full, yeah, man, y'all, it's good. Y'all eat it up. Then they not being greedy. Then they're not being greedy because I'm full. But when I'm hungry, now what's on your plate? Now, that's some internal stuff. But if we taught that to 5-year-olds, they would be good at this 15 years into the game, going into young adulthood. So I didn't want to leave that situation. It was just a freak accident. Okay. You won't rip your esophagus again, but there's going to be some other situation that shows you what's going on. You know what I think it was? As simple as this sound, and I think this might be true for my life at this point or most recently, whatever. I just told you, Rodney, when you get into this place, do this, do this, do this. That's process. It don't matter if you do it quickly, but go through check the proper things. And sometimes, Lita, put myself on Front Street, make it a little embarrassing. I give myself permission to not have to do those things. Sometimes it works out well. Sometimes things break. It's important to go through, to check it off. When I graduated high school, I graduated with a little boy named Greg Smith, who's a grown man now, but he was like 11 when we was graduating high school, right? He was like some precocious little genius kid. But they didn't just put him into the 12th grade because he was smart. He had to pass the test, the cumulative test of 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. He checked the boxes. He did the steps. You do the work. Do the process. Rodney can forget that sometimes. And because I may not listen to it, if my friend Lita called me like, hey, Rodney, I saw this meme. Do the process. Like, okay, Lita, I send memes too. My little kid say something to me. Okay, yeah, you do you, kid. Right? Billboard. I probably got this message 4, 5, 8 times. Right? I probably got this message 4, 5, 8 times. The beautiful thing about it is, as worse as that was, it probably, if I get the lesson, it probably preventing me from losing out on something so major, something so beautiful. And I wasn't getting it. So out of providence and grace, I went through something painful to get my attention. Maybe had I paid attention, Ms. Lita, I wouldn't have had to have something painful happen. Maybe it could have happened simply, right? So that right there is very intentional about me choosing mindset. It's a choice. It's a choice. Do I get up and go run? Do I get up and get on the floor and do my exercises? Do I get up and list out things that I'm grateful for? Or do I roll back and go to sleep because it's warm, because it's comfortable? I struggle with that every single morning. I try to win. I try to get up and do my gratitude. I try to get up and go for my run. I'd be lying if I told you it wasn't a struggle. It's a choice. I choose to embrace the mindset that we talk about because I believe in it. So yeah, that's how I approach it.
I love that. And I love that you took us through the entire part of it, because I think one of the big takeaways from what you said was, when you don't follow the process, sometimes it may show itself to be okay. Sometimes it's not going to be that painful, ending up in the hospital moment.
Right.
But the problem is the other times it will. Right. And so if you truly, if it really just kind of goes to a simple thing, if you want positive results and you know these steps get the results you want, you just follow those steps to get the results you want.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. We make it hard.
We make it
really is simple.
We make, we do. We look for it. I had a friend of mine. This is going to take us off into a little dicey, touchy place, right? But this is a true story. I had a friend of mine who his dad worked in a faith-based organization. and they would do a lot of like positive affirmations to help people kind of overcome painful trauma situation type things. And sometimes they would do that with people from well into the day, way into the night, repeating the same sort of things and kind of drinking water and sweating and like, come on, focus, and we're going to do this. And but people were getting better. Now, Tony Robbins has stuff like that, and like we've seen instances of people experiencing things that seemed like it shouldn't. It just literally happened to me. I should have been in the hospital for 2 weeks. I got out in 2.5 days, right? So these things can happen. Okay. And his family was really, his dad was really, really good at the procedure of it. I remember me and this guy graduated college, Lita, and he was telling me that he had gone back home and his dad was doing the same thing in like 20, 25 minutes, right? Taking people from, okay, what's going on? Okay, let's go through these things. 25, 20 minutes later, and it wasn't like a timer. It was just very, very, very short comparatively speaking. And so he asked his dad, he was like, Dad, when I was small, man, I used to see y'all in there, man. I used to see y'all in there working, and I was just getting myself ready because I thought that's what I needed to do. And, you know, because I was going to do what the family does. And he was like, why did it take so long? It don't take y'all no time now. Why did it take so long back then? And his dad said, hold on, son. My son is being loud. Shh. His dad said, it took that long because we thought it needed to take that long. How about that? How about that? How about that? I don't want that to be my truth. Not when I see people walking into opportunities, right?
Wow.
So, how about that?
Wow. Well, you know, we could talk for hours. But unfortunately, we have come to the end of this conversation. Rodney, as if you haven't just said many, many amazing things, what are your final words to those who are here listening, watching? What do you want to say to the people?
I would say this, guys. There was a CD I was listening to. It was a music CD, but in the middle it was like a talking interlude. And the guy said this. He said, opportunities of a lifetime must be seized within the lifetime of that opportunity. And I believe that me, you, us are all kind of having this conversation with Lita right now because somewhere, some part of your life needed to hear about my little ripped up, almost dying esophagus and hear about my friend's dad said it needed to take all night, so it did. But if I choose to see the green, if I choose to follow the steps, I can move through them once that opportunity is open. I promise it can be that simple. So let's choose it.
Wow. Thank you so much. You are a welcome friend to Pivotal Moments. To me, I appreciate your continued support, as always, your friendship. I'm always watching you from the hiking videos to the everything. I love what you're doing. And also, just again, where can people find you?
Everywhere. Right there on the screen. At Rodney C. Y'all, I got I'm TikToking now, y'all. I'm TikToking.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So listen, it probably looks that bad. I'm not really doing any of the dance moves, but I'm kind of doing some of the trendy stuff. So if you are an Instagrammer, you like IG, you like to tweet, you like whatever your favorite platform is, and you want to link up, I look kind of different on each of them. Some are more professional, more friendly, more funny, more laid back. Whatever your vibe is, at Rodney C. Burris, if you want to stay connected, I would love to keep building.
Love it.
Come
and I will
hello,
definitely
boy.
make sure to have that.
Come say hello, because he keep peeking around here.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
All right, we're going to get out.
For those of you listening, Rodney's son has just peeked in, so you will definitely have to click the link and watch the video version of this so you can see his adorable son with him.
Cool.
Oh.
Thank you, bud. Thank you, Lita.
Well, Rodney, thank you as always for coming on the show, for the conversation, the inspiration. you know you have a special place in my heart, in the show, all that good stuff.
That's right. Cool. We'll do this again, Lita.
Yes. Thank you. And we thank you all for tuning into Pivotal Moments. I almost forgot. Thank you all for tuning in. I know this spoke to you. At least one person out there is definitely inspired and encouraged by this episode. So again, make sure to tune in for more episodes just like this. And as always, thank you for your support. And we will see you next time on Pivotal Moments.